Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. This is definitely the first time that I did this intro because I didn't have technical difficulties for the first 4 minutes of the stream. That wouldn't be normal. But as DSB said, this is our first technical difficulty of the year, at least majorly. And of course it happens when I'm by myself, so I'm never going to hear the end of it from T. Love that for me, but that's why I love him. He keeps me humble. Welcome to a Sunday Geek Out Sesh, you guys. A very special Geek Out Sesh. I love doing these on weird days because it just keeps us all on our toes, and I love that all of you are here for it. So thank you, all of you in the chat. If you are there, let me hear you shout out so I can say hi to you personally, like DSB and Umbrin stopping in for a lurk. But I know there's more of you out there, so feel free to say hi. And if this is the first time meeting, as always, I am Bozer. This is 4 Geeks by Geeks. We hang out with amazing people each and every week all over the world. I say world because the reason that we're having a special Geek Out Sesh schedule today is because our guest is from across the other side of the globe. So we're really excited for a time change. If we were to do this at a normal Geek Out Sesh time, it would be very ungodly late for them. So I wasn't going to do that to him. So I'm glad that he was flexible enough to hang out with me, today on a Sunday. And thank you all for hanging out with me. I hope your week has gone stellar. I've had a really good week. It's been a lot of... I've had some weirdness in my life personally, but I'm taking it in stride, and I'm really excited at the changes coming because of it. So all in all, I'm excited, and life is really, really kind of cool right now, and it allows me to focus a lot more energy on all of you and the amazing things that we do here, like Geek Out Sessions. So if this is your first Geek Out Sesh, welcome. We do this each and every, usually Monday at 8:30 Eastern Standard, but today we're doing it at 2:30 on a Sunday. And we geek out with artists, cosplayers, authors, game developers, just geeks in general, and give them an opportunity to gush about their work. And today is no different. But before we get to it, some of you found the command QOTD, which is the question of the day. I want you to imagine you're a Viking going to war. What are you fighting for? I want to know. Whether it's a real life answer or just something bullshit, because we need a little bit of bullshit in our lives. I'm drinking out of a horn today because that stressed me out. But literally, I did nothing different. All of a sudden, my audio was working, and this tracks because when we first linked up with my guest today, he couldn't hear me either, and I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything. I'm just frustrated. I hate that for me. But I'm glad you stuck with me anyway. Anyway, I've wasted enough of your time with my technical difficulties, so I'm really excited to jump in and talk with my guest today, which if you've been scrolling on your Instagram and your feed looks anything like ours, you might have seen amazing cosplayers and foam crafters. But today's guest is a combination of both of those things, working with leather. So if you have any inclination to delve into the leather working scene, or you just admire the hell out of it, maybe you are a historical nut and you want to go back to like the real leather armor, I think you're going to learn something today. Plus, he's into LARPing. He LARPs, you guys. He takes these amazing things out into the world. And I've never LARPed. I've always wanted to. You guys know I'm a TTRPG kind of guy, but I'd love to bring that character out of a table and put him into a real life world. So I'm excited to learn more about that and how I get into it, and then maybe how I make some dope ass armor along the way. So please join me in celebrating. I want to see some applause, some fire emojis in the chat for our amazing guest today, all the way from Germany, Deutschland itself. Please welcome Mr. Nils Beardfoot. Welcome.
Hey there.
Nils, I suck at streaming.
Probably less than I.
You're very gracious. But that explains why you couldn't hear me at first. Though I do not know what the issue was. I literally didn't do anything. I just sat and clicked a bunch of buttons just to check things. I didn't change anything. I'm frustrated.
Your computer mana was empty.
It was. I need to pray to the computer gods and refill my divination cup.
Yes. Do this for the next few days and you probably are good.
Okay. If you know any good gods in that realm, send them my way.
I will.
But Nils, thank you so much for joining me on a Sunday. It's a little later for you. What, it's about 8:30 your time?
Yeah, it is. In the evening.
So thanks for giving me part of your night for my part of my afternoon. But I'm really excited. I've been drooling over your work for as soon as I came across it. I'm grateful for the Instagram algorithm to a point, only because now it makes it a lot easier for me to find new amazing guests. And it just kind of points them in my direction. And so as soon as I saw your stuff, I immediately reached out and said, dude, you do amazing work like the stuff sitting behind you. I'd love to hear more about it, how you got into it, some tips. I don't know. I'm hoping that I come away with something I can use by the end of this.
I try my best to share all the secrets I have.
Yeah, no copyrights here.
I do video tutorials, so I pretty much show everything that I do, how I do it, for everybody to see online. So I don't really have any real secrets on that.
I always admire the hell out of you amazing creators that not only make these amazing things, but you share it. I think that is such a gift that you give back to the community. So good on you for doing that. We'll get more into that in a minute, but first, I got to know the question of the day. You're a Viking going to war. What are you fighting for?
Probably freedom. The freedom to do whatever the fuck I want.
I'm picturing a Braveheart moment right now. Wrong country, but still same spirit.
I have a kilt, so don't you worry.
I am not shocked by that. So, for anybody that doesn't know you yet, they're about to, but share a little bit about who you are and what you do as a geek.
Okay. So, my name is Nils Beardfoot. I do leathercraft. I do everything pretty much that you can or before could not build from that. Mostly bags, but also a lot of armor and masks, like the stuff that you see behind me. And I do video tutorials about them, so you can build them as well, or just get some inspiration, some information, whatever you like. And also offer the digital patterns online. So if you ever see something that you really seem to enjoy, you can build it yourself.
And is this just something that you've always done? Like little baby Nils found his first cow, killed it, skinned it, tanned it, and just started working with it?
And that's actually something most people don't know. I came out of the belly of a cattle, so yeah, it's pretty much that.
It makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I knew you were a god in some way. Now I have your origin story.
Yeah, that's the way it works. But the question is, where did this cattle come from, and where did it want to go to, and how did I end up in there? But actually, so the real story is, I always was some kind of like in crafting. I always enjoyed doing some woodwork, very basic, nothing special, and was always fantasy related. And at some point, I went to medieval markets, rent fairies, and I saw leather stuff there, and there was something embossed on them, and I was thinking like, okay, this looks kind of cool. What is it? How is it called? Watched online for it, and I found was it called, and I thought, okay, maybe I can try that. I mean, it seems kind of cool. So I started with some very cheap and poor quality starting set from China, and was like $40, and I started to emboss myself, and I was like, okay, this is actually kind of cool, and I started to get more tools, better tools, and yeah, that's me 6 years later.
So this has only been going on for about 6 years for you.
Yes.
There's lots of things I've done for 6 years, i.e. this channel, and I have yet to reach the godlike level that you have in leather crafting. Like, I am amazed by your work in the detail. You guys, if you haven't already, use command Beardfoot in the chat, and it'll go straight to his Instagram. I'll keep pushing that all afternoon, all night, because this is somebody you want to follow, and you want to just stare at. Make sure that you have paper towel nearby so you can wipe off your mouth and your phone for the drool. 6 years.
Yeah. And actually was quite lucky, because in the beginning I thought like, do I really want to purchase this starting set?
Yeah.
Because it's another hobby, another thing that takes time. But in the end, I'm super grateful that I did, because it was the beginning of all the stuff that came after it, and I'm really, really happy that I purchased that.
Like, was this something that you already had skills in from like your job, or is this completely outside of what you've done in your life, and it's just a side hobby that has exploded?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have no background in that before. So as I said, I was a lot into crafting, different stuff, and just going my way, the way I want to be. And actually, it was this time when I was studying. I was actually studying agricultural science. So it is some kind of animal related, but actually I focused on the plant part. So it's not really related. And I just like doing things with my hands. Because when you invest a lot of time, when you sit on the desk, you're on the computer, you program, or you just are on Excel and you type in some numbers. After a few hours, you see basically nothing from what you've done. At least that's for me.
Yeah.
But when you get something physical in the end, it's much more satisfying, because you know you invested your time in this, and that's what came out of it, and you can see it every day.
No, this is not something you see every day. And when I first saw it, like, I literally thought it was like foam, like just really, really good foam crafting. And because a lot of cosplayers are using that, and there's lots of ways to make it look like real leather. And then as I was looking closer and I was reading more about it, I'm like, oh shit, this guy's working with real leather. And I think there was just something so, I don't know, historically rich in that. Like,
you mean romantic?
That's it. That's it. Is that the first thing on your Tinder bio? Do they have Tinder in Germany?
I'm a leather romancer.
Ooh. Yeah, I bet if you put leather anything as in your bio, that you get lots of DMs.
Actually, so far not, but well, probably I should try that out to see whatever happens. I don't know.
Okay, well, my new goal for this Geek Out sesh is to increase your DMs. I'm here for you. Wingman.
Thank you so much.
But you mentioned that a lot of your crafting has like a fantasy aspect. Like,
yes.
What's the background in that? Were you always into that kind of thing? Did you love the video games and like reading? Did you play D&D?
I actually play pen and paper in general, not specifically D&D.
Okay.
But my time with fantasy stuff started way, way earlier. So when I was a child, obviously computer games and movies like Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of my fantasy related stuff comes from. Especially there's one game which is called Age of Mythology. If you ever heard of it, it's like Age of Empires, but with fantasy mythology stuff, like Vikings.
Yeah.
And I really love this game. And I think it sparked a lot of my fantasy comes from that.
Like, and the things you're making, are you making them based off of like fantasy inspiration, like a specific character? Are these things coming from your mind, or like historical accurate kind of things?
So in partly everything basically. In the beginning, I thought cosplay is like you always take one character and you try to mimic it as close as possible. But at some point, I noticed it's not really only this, and it limits my creativity. So I want to do things differently, for me at least better in a way. And so I stopped making characters from video games and stuff. And I made only so far, since then, I only made OC characters.
Okay.
Like original creations. And actually my first set of armor set was a lot of historical inspiration, like from the Greek mythology, or the Greeks, the military, with the muscle armor and the Corinthian helmet. The Corinthian helmet actually was my first armor piece that I made. I had no idea if it works out, because I knew people made armor from this. But so far, I had not really Googled a lot about it, and I didn't know if helmets work as well. So it was a real adventure for me to see, okay, is this really going to work? I wasn't sure, and I was super proud with that, what comes out. From this point of view of now, it's I would be able to make it today a lot better, I think, a lot more comfortable to wear. But back then it was my greatest achievement, basically. So I'm really happy with that one. So that's where the historical part. And also, I wanted to do. So I did some Eagle Warrior inspired armor set, and I have the Viking one. So yes, I like the historical part, but also always add some fantasy stuff, because if you may know or do not know, leather armor is more or less not historical accurate. It's leather back in the days was way too valuable to use it for armor. There were different ways to use that, and different materials to use for armor. So using leather for armor is mostly fantasy. There are some exceptions, but it's mostly the stuff that is used in movies and what inspired me as well. So don't ask me for any historical accuracy on my armor pieces. It's not going to be. It may look kind of in the correct direction, but apart from that, that's it. So, but that's also the thing. I would love at some point to try to replica some historical armor, but then in the end, I'm still in the same problem as before that I had with the traditional cosplay, that you try to mimic a specific character as close as possible, and that again limits my creativity, because I want to do the things the way I want to have them, right? And not somebody else designed it before or did it before. So I personally really prefer to do original characters that just jump out of my mind and are not exact copies of any character that exists before.
Yeah, and you bring up good points. I love that you weren't concerned with being historically accurate at the start, because that's exactly what I would have to do, because that involves research and being smart. Both of those things are not my forte. So same. I would just think, oh, I want to do what I want to do. But in this day and age, especially with social media being what it is, and your 12,000 plus Instagram following now, you have gotten some great exposure. But when you started, a lot of people want to jump into that kind of thing, like cosplay or leatherworking, but there are things that we think about and we hold us back from getting started in the first place. Like gatekeepers out there, and it's not going to be historically accurate, or it's not going to look just like a character. What kind of things did you have to wrestle with to first just pull the trigger and say, I'm going to do this?
So the most part that I wrestled with were just in my mind. I was thinking okay, leather, and if I do a leather armor and then go out there in the world and show it, everybody is going to hate me because it's part of an animal. So an animal died for this. That's what I thought. I would get a lot of hate for it. But so far, there was only one person in the whole time so far that really was concerned with that topic. Yeah, and that's fine. You can have your opinion, and I also would like to discuss to a certain point about this. But so far, apart from this, I only got love for that. How amazing my stuff looks, and everybody seems to like it, as far as I know. And so I'm really happy with that. So far it was only in my mind, and also what part was a part of that is. Like I have had no experience in this before, so I had to test a lot. I watched a lot of online tutorials of other people doing this, so I learned a lot there. But at some point, I thought I knew more or less the importance, the things, and after this, I had to test all the things out myself, and that's actually something that is very missing the word. So it's difficult to be sure if it works in the end. So
yeah,
and so every time when I try something new, and I can make mock-ups from cupboard and stuff, but until the very end, I never be sure if it really works. If I have not done it before. So that's really a thing I'm still wrestling with, but so far, most of the things I've tried worked out pretty well. So at some point, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if it's going to work, but just let's see, and maybe I fuck it up. That would be something funny too, right? That's at least the mindset I want to go to.
Yeah.
Also, in the beginning, as I told you, I was studying at the time, so it's not like I had all the money in the world.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm regular working, so I have some money to buy tools and leather for. But back then, I was like, okay, I'm not going to fuck up this project because I'm going to waste all the materials. Also, I'm wasting my time. So, but yeah, again, that's the part that I'm trying to get to the mindset that I just want to be curious and try it out. And in the end, if it does not work out, it's fine too. So it's another experience. That's the mindset I want to be having.
And I love that mindset because it's not like this stuff is readily available. Like you can't just go to the grocery store and pick up a huge roll of leather. Like it's costly, right? So
yeah,
there's that stress of you can make a mock-up with the cardboard or the paper, but you're going to invest so much time and energy and material and effort just hoping that it works.
Yes.
So like, what was that first thing that you made? I know you said like the helmet was the first thing that you really were proud of, but was that the first thing you started with?
No, I started with some wristbands, like bracelets.
Okay.
Small and easy to make, and if you mess it up, it's not that much of trouble. Then I went to book covers that also soon put pages in there as well, and these were also very well. But I think I have almost none of these left. I gave them away because I was okay. Have enough books now.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at some point, I first thought, okay, I want to do something useful with this craft. So I want to do useful things like books or bracelets. At least you can wear them.
Yeah.
And then came also bags, and these are also always things that you can use in some kind of way. But at some point, I was like, okay, I got bracelets, books, bags, and belts. Now I got all the useful things. Now let's try something not useful. And I just started with some armor. Because the thing about armor is, most of the time you will not use them. You will not wear them. And especially at that time, I did not really know much about cosplay or conventions.
Right.
Or LARP.
You're about to make armor just is going to sit behind you and look like that's it.
Yeah, and then the question is that the correct time, the correct way to invest your time and your money? Because what's going to come after this? What are you going to use with this?
Right.
And back in the day, I was okay. I see if the helmet works, and then maybe I do like a whole armor set, and I can wear this then to every occasion, like with medieval markers and Renfairs and everything, and I will be fine. One set of armor is completely enough, and then I will be okay. And rest of the time, I will do only things that are some kind of way useful. As you might not surprise you, it did not end up with just one armor set. I have no, I have like I'm now on the sixth, like the sixth version of an armor set.
6 sets of full armor, like the 2 sitting behind you.
Yes.
I think I speak for the chat when I say, "Holy fucking shit, Nils." So you eventually got to a point that did it become like an addiction? Like, is this what you dream about when you go to bed?
I would not say it. It's an addiction. It's more an obsession. It's what makes my life great, and which makes me a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed doing this stuff. Not only the crafting part itself, but also the process getting there. Because first you have to make some kind of pattern, some kind of mock-up, and then you craft it from leather. The whole process is something I really enjoy. There are parts that I like more than others, or less than others. But it's the whole process that I really enjoy. And also the thing is, before I start doing leather, I just played computer games. So basically what I did, I just mostly stopped playing computer games and just invested the free time in crafting leather. So for me, that's completely fine, because as many may have wasted a lot of time in the game called World of Warcraft, grinding endlessly for some gear. I thought like, let's just make the gear in real life, and then it's not only digital, but you can really touch it. You can go out in the world and show it off to people. And at least for me, is a lot better way than saying, okay, hey, I have this level 80 World of Warcraft character with T6 gear, and it's so cool, and they will be like, yeah, no. And so I like this version, at least for me, much better.
Yeah, unlike grinding in a game that, in that game culture, like those could recognize, oh, that's some sick armor. That guy worked really hard. Your version, I think it expands that appreciation, because even if you're not into gaming or leatherwork, they can still see it as like a work of art, and they can tell how much work, or at least have an idea on how much time and effort has gone into it. You can physically see it. And I think it's something that anybody could say you should be really, really proud of.
I try to be. It's not always easy, because I'm my biggest critic. And that's actually also my most important part is secondary. It's always firstly, it's important that I like whatever I create. Yeah. And then secondary, it's all the other people. Because if I don't like it, it doesn't matter if other people like it, because it's me. I made this, and it's for me. Yeah. And after this, it's most importantly that I know I want to do this and I like it. So that's also a reason why I'm not that big of a fan of commissions, like people asking me to create something for them. Mm-hmm. Because I want to do the project, and when I really want to do this, then I'm giving my all. I'm trying to do this the best quality that I can. On the other hand, if I would do things again, like projects I have done before, and then would redo this for somebody, I would not put that much heart in it as I do for things that I do for myself. So I would not be able to guarantee the quality that I do for myself for other people. I probably could. I'm pretty sure I could, but it's a question if I really want to do this, if I really having fun with this. And right now, this for me, it's a side job. It's a project that I do just for fun, mostly. And so that's what I would like to stick with. And until maybe someday this will change when I try to make this from this my whole living.
Yeah.
But until then, I do whatever I like.
And I think that is so important to highlight because you see it all the time where somebody gets excited about something that's a hobby, they have fun with it, it's giving their life meaning and joy and fun.
Yeah.
But then they realize that they can make money off of it, and all of a sudden it has completely different motivations.
Yeah.
And then you're having to do things that don't excite you, but someone's paying you to do it, so I guess you have to do it.
Yeah.
And then you lose that spark. And really, like,
Exactly.
in the grand scheme of things, isn't that spark so much more important than your ability to make money on it?
Yeah. If I wouldn't, yeah. That's the thing. People ask me to create some patterns before, like they have an idea in them, and I like to hear these ideas.
Sure.
But I never guarantee them to make anything. But there have been people before coming with an idea, and I liked the idea so much, so I wanted to do this, and I did not charge them for anything. I just made it because I wanted to do this.
You didn't charge them for material or time?
No, they came with an idea, and I liked the idea, and I was like, okay, I want to do this. And then they can buy the pattern later on if they want to, like everybody else, for the regular price.
Yeah.
Or don't do this. But that's still my project, because I want to do this now then the way that I like it, and the way I want it, with the idea of them, and just for me. Because if they came with an idea, there have been people before that asked me for something, and I did not like the idea. I was like, that's not my style, or not sure. I'm not that into this genre or something. So I would not do this because I did not feel comfortable with this, because it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So if people have ideas, they can come with the idea, but I will decide whatever I do, and if I like it and I do it, I won't charge any money for this.
I think I'm really proud of you for having that mindset, because I think it's all too easy to fall into almost a capitalistic mindset of like, how do I expand on this and gain money? But you are just creating a boundary around your joy and saying, this is mine. I enjoy it. You're not going to take it away just because you're willing to pay me for it. And I would imagine that you are living a much happier life because you're able to hold on to that.
Yeah.
So
I hope I will be able to hold on this for the rest of my life.
It's the same reason why people are banging down my door every day. 4 Geeks by Geeks, we'd love to sponsor you with thousands and millions of dollars. And I'm like, no. You know what? I do this for me. I say no.
Actually, the same reason for me being here today. Because I'm here because I want to be here. Because you asked me, and I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like fun. So let's do it. And as people know or do not know, you don't pay me for this.
No, I got nothing to pay you with. Our channel accounts are dry. But I'm really thrilled that you said yes, because like you have got quite a big following, I think, like 12.8 thousand on Instagram, and once you hit like 10,000 plus on Instagram, when I'm sending you DMs, it's a crapshoot. Like it's a chance whether people even see my DMs or whether they'll see yes. Some people at that point are like, I don't want to waste time on some small channels interviews. But you said yes, and I hope. Do you have any regrets on saying yes so far?
So far not, but okay. The thing is, I hit the 12K followers only like recently, like the beginning of this year. So probably I'm not in the mindset of the 10K people so far. So probably you're in luck.
I got you before you knew any better. Got it. A smarter man would have said, hell no. Okay, so let's talk about these inspirations of yours. Like when you have an idea for like an entire armor set, like maybe the one behind you with that dope ass animal skull.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
This one.
Walk us. Yeah, it's the mirroring. I get confused.
Yeah, get confused.
Like, walk us through the process when you are creating an armor set. Where do you start? What kind of things? What kind of tools are you using? I want to know all of it.
So actually, on this one, the very first idea actually started from someone asking for a pattern.
Okay.
And it was about a mushroom, or no, actually, just a nature-based bag, more or less. They sent me some pictures, like bags with the shapes of leaves, and they asked if I could make something similar. And first I thought, okay, that's not really my style, but I want to give it a try. So it was a challenge for me, and I tried out. I made a bag, and I thought, okay, what fits with nature item? Some I don't know. Is mandala a thing? A word in English?
Yeah, like a mandala, like the little flowery thing.
Exactly. And I thought, okay, I start with something like this, and then okay, what else is there that fits to nature? And then I start with mushrooms, because as you can see or not see, there are plenty of mushrooms on here, like all over the whole armor.
Okay, I think I see those little orangey things in the background. Are those the mushrooms?
Orange, yellow, and purple.
Okay.
And this was basically then the start of the whole armor set, because I did not know if I could make mushrooms from leather, because that's something that sounds kind of weird, and I have never seen somebody do this. So I tried, and it worked surprisingly well.
Really well.
And we started to make different mushrooms also, and then I thought, okay, there's this TV series that I like very much. It's supposed to be for children. It's called Adventure Time.
Love it.
You may have heard of that. And there are plenty of characters that I really love, and there's one character that is called Fern, which is basically the anti-version of the hero. And at some point, Fern gets really evil and changes shape. And this was basically then the idea what I was aiming for, making this armor set of Fern. But the thing is, the character in the TV series is very, very low on details. So I had plenty of free space to put on there whatever I like. So I made it my personally project as like personal version. So it's you would not recognize if you don't knew it.
Yeah.
And only then with the helmet. That's actually the wrong helmet for us. So I started, okay, I wanted to do green and grass and mushrooms, and that's where I started from. I tried to put the mandala on as many parts as I could. So there's a consistency in there. And then I started with the bracers. So like on the arms, that's mostly a simple part of the armor. So and usually I start only with one part and then go for the next piece after piece. So and I don't do like some cosplayers do, like the whole armor and then I paint it and then it's finished. But I go from one part of the armor to the next.
So you would do the entire bracer first?
Yes, both of them.
Okay.
And I just started with them to just test out if I like the design, if it worked out with the mushrooms. And after this, there come additional pieces. And there's also a process. So with the piece that I start with most of the time, the part that I would love to redo in the very end. Because from one part of the armor to the next, the way of the design changes. I learn new things. I try out new things. I improve a lot of things. And then in the end, the last piece is usually different, a little different than the first piece. They still fit together, but they are different, a little bit different in design.
Yeah.
But usually I'm like, okay, it's not finished. It's a process. It's fine. So I stick with the original braces. And I thought, okay, what else is there in And with every piece, I think, what else is there on nature that fits there? So I went with bigger mushrooms, different mushrooms. I was like, at some point, okay, what else is in nature there that probably fits that? How about a bee? And you can't see it, but on the one leg armor, there's a lot of honeycombs, and there sits a big bee on there.
Cool.
So that's just, I try to get ideas that fit to it, and yeah, that's just what my mind comes up with. It's sometimes strange, it behaves in strange ways, but actually most of the times I really like it. So there was one person that started this asking me for a bag, and then it spiraled and ended up in this mushroom armor.
It's so cool that you never know where inspiration is going to strike, and like I love that you just let that mind carry you to the next thing. You don't. It sounds like you don't force it or put yourself into any expectation. Like now I have to do this. You just
try to
give yourself the space to let things come to your mind if they want to, and that like keeps that same peace and joy that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Especially in the beginning, I had more problems thinking of ideas. I remember I made a big bag very in the beginning, and I was thinking, okay, what do I want to put on this bag? And it was like 3 days of mind-breaking thinking what would fit, and it was kind of really exhausting. But at least after 3 days, I knew exactly what had to be on there. I drew it. And I put it on there, and it looks really nice, but it was exhausting. And since then, it changed a lot. Most of the ideas come now faster to me than I could craft them. So I have like ideas for the next 6 projects that I wanted to do, but my time is limited, so I have to do one after the other.
Yeah.
And also sometimes have to a little bit force myself to stick with the idea that I now have, and not jump to the next one that I just had a few hours ago and do only this. So I'm a little bit have to force myself to finish the individual projects. But that's also why I like to go from armor piece to armor piece and not create a whole piece of armor and then do all the next steps, because I don't want to force myself exactly into this.
Yeah.
And I also do many side projects in between of just ideas that I have that come up, and I would really love to pursue. And if I would have to say, okay, I cannot do this right now, but I have to do this later because I have this first project to finish, would make me really, really sad and probably exhausting. So I do go from little project to little project, and in between I have another idea. I do this because I want to do this, and then I'm satisfied, and then I can go back to the other armor set that I just started.
Mm-hmm.
Because often I have like a lot of the pieces that I do are bags in some kind of way. They often don't look like bags, but they are. I have these ideas, and I just craft them in between the different armor pieces, and it's also some kind of I'm missing the word again. Like I have different topics to work on, so it's not like focus only. You have to do this, but it's some variation in between.
Yeah.
If I do the mushroom set, and in between I want to do like the pumpkin bag, and I was thinking like, but this does not completely fit or to the style. It doesn't matter. I just do it because I want to. After that, I can go back to the set that I'm working on.
I can almost tell that you were a gamer at some point in your life, because it sounds exactly like a game. Like you have a main quest that you're headed towards, but along that quest, you can always take a side quest. You can like level up your skill in some other way, and then you can always select a new objective or go back to your original objective, and it's always moving forward, but just not in a straight line.
Yeah, it's
so much fun.
A little bit more chaotic.
I like a little chaos. We have similar gaming styles, I think. I'm the side quester.
True. I also like to do some side quests, and I think this whole leather working stuff is one big side quest actually for me, because it's it's not my main job. I have a regular job that I work on. So this is just a huge side quest for me that I really love pursuing. And because in the end, it's I started with this little piece of equipment that I bought from China, and from there it spiraled into many things and creating armor sets. And also at some point I thought, okay, what do I do now with these armor sets? So what could I do with that? And I started to look into cosplay and then into LARP to use these things to have reasons to myself to argue, okay, that's what I do these things for, and to use them for that, for any conventions that come up. And yeah, one big side quest that has many side quests.
Yeah, because once you start one, you never know. Just to give people an idea on the time that this side quest has taken, first, like any of those armor sets behind you, start to finish, how many hours, how many weeks, how many months, how many years did it take?
I don't know. I can tell you that the Viking armor set was made over the course of 1.5 years.
1.5?
Yes. But there have been other side quests in between.
Right.
And yeah, so I can only guess how many hours I put in there, but I actually don't really know. So what I know is for only the chest armor itself, like the breastplate and the backplate, I know that I stopped the time about, so I took about 40 hours creating the pattern for that, and another 40 hours to create the armor, chest armor on its own. So that's the only guess I have. So I'm not sure, the whole armor set could be something between 200 and 600 hours.
Right.
I don't know.
And that's all after work hours. Like the chest plate itself took 2 American weeks of hours. I don't know how it works in Germany.
It's more or less the same. 40 hours is the regular working week.
Okay, yeah. So that took 2 regular working weeks of hours, and that's after work.
Yes.
Work. It's a good thing you love this.
I bet I do, yes.
Yeah.
It would be a huge waste of time if I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't love it.
And it's cool that you are the first person that you must like what you make. But then after that, you allow others to also fall in love with it. So are you okay if we take a stroll down your Instagram feed just to get a better look at some of these things that you're making?
Sure.
Because y'all, if you haven't yet, either if you're live in the chat, use command Beardfoot and follow along with us. Or if you're watching back or listening back on YouTube or podcast, go to the link below. Go follow this man, because I need you to see what we're seeing. Like the detail. Like this is the one behind you, right? Yes,
that's the one.
Also, shout out to you for making sure that your photographers are credited all the time.
Yes, most of the people that create stuff don't do it for the money, but only because they love it. So it's only fair if they get credit for the beautiful things they did.
I love that. I can tell when you put that in that pre-show form. I love that you made sure that I shout out your photographers, because they are working just as hard in a very different medium, and they deserve to be highlighted too. But Oh my God. Like, y'all, if you need to zoom in some more on the screen, like, I love that your armor sets are sitting behind you, but you cannot see all the level of like carving and embossing. I see that mandala effect on this one that you were talking about here on the
Yes, exactly.
Plates. Wow. I'm at a loss for words, Nils. Like I'm just drooling over it. Let me wipe my mouth. Like you're an artist, right? Like you've always been artsy, or is this just been unlocked when you started working with leather?
I think the really art part that came really out with the leather. I did, as I mentioned, do craft a lot before, but in very very different level. So the main part of the art came out with the leather, because then I had to. For me, drawing something on paper and having a nice picture is for me personally, from my view, it's nice, but sits on the wall and you can't really use it for anything. So then when I found out about leatherwork, I knew I could put these artworks on something that I wear outside of my own room, or not only put them on the wall, but now I can make them wearable. And that's what I really like, because there are many great artists out there. They're great at painting and doing all the beautiful things. But for me, I want to have something to wear it on. Like I don't know, if it would be clothes, would be fine, but something to use this art for. Because so there are also great leather workers that also make leather art, and they put them in the frame and hang them on the wall. And for me personally, that's some kind of lost, because it's only sitting on the walls. It could be so much more, and with the leather especially, you can do this, and that's what excites me really much.
You can become a walking work of art, and
pretty much, yeah.
Pride in knowing, as people are coming up and looking at the intricate detail, like, where did you get this done? Oh, I did it.
Yeah, that's mostly the then they're like, what? This looks like you purchased it. That's often the reaction I get, but I take this as a big compliment. So yeah, being a walkable piece of art.
It's the detail. Okay, I gotta ask, like, the tools that you're using to create. If you're following along with me on this really cool leather Thor armor. Especially this black band that goes along all of your pieces, there is tiny, tiny little intricate designs. What are you using to create that?
So the big secret behind this all is the leather is called veg-tanned leather. So it's not the regular one. Most of the leather that people know it's very soft, and if you can manipulate it more or less like fabric. But this veg-tanned leather is much more stiff. Often it's also thicker. And the beautiful thing about it is, if you moisten it, you can put stamps in there. You can shape it, and if it dries, it stays this way. So there are stamps. Then when you moisten the leather, you can hammer these in there, and then they stay this way. That's more or less the whole secret on this. And in the black band that you mentioned, there are just like some little triangle with some Viking style knotwork on there that I just put all over the whole edge. They're like these stems are like this big, like 2 centimeters or 1 inch maximum big. Most of the time they are smaller, and then you just moisten the leather and take a hammer and stamp them in there with a lot of your free time.
All of your free time, I think.
Probably, yes.
Ugh, I'm obsessed, dude. And even Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, is leather.
Yes. It's actually a LARP weapon, the very first one I made. It's foam on the inside with the core staff, and then leather on the outside, because I have no idea about how regular LARP weapons are made, like with latex. I have pretty much no experience with that. So I stick with whatever I know about, and I just used leather, and actually worked surprisingly well. And so far I have nobody else seen doing this, but probably at some point there will be others.
You really feel like again, on my Instagram feed, I'm scrolling all the time looking for ghosts, not ghosts, guests. Also looking for ghosts. And just drooling over everyone's work. But when I first saw yours, I stopped in my tracks and I immediately messaged you. I'm like, I have to know how you are making this. Especially because I come, like I said pre-stream, I come from a theater background, and just now my boss is or not now, but recently, he's starting to understand the significance that cosplayers have had in the costuming department and the kind of out of the box way of thinking that you can have to make really cool, amazing designs, but not technically the maybe right way, or they didn't go to costume class or design school for anything. They're just throwing shit at the wall and see when it works. And I love to hear that that's exactly your mindset, because you started this 6 years ago. You didn't know anything. You just watched some tutorials, and now you've leveled up to this.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm so grateful that I am to the skill level that I'm not right now, and with all the success that I'm having. I really love it, and I never thought that I could get this far in this leather craft, but somehow I did, and I try to improve myself with every project, and so far I think I'm able to do exactly this.
And when you say gotten this far, if you go to his Instagram, you'll see at the top of his page all the awards and accolades that you've received on your work.
Yeah.
Like for Game Vision, Best Armor at Gamescom. Some words I can't pronounce that I assume is happening in Germany.
Correct.
BlizzCon. This is amazing. Like, what kind of feedback have you received from these cosplay competitions that you've entered, and how does it feel?
So my very first contest was actually BlizzCon line, like the BlizzCon that did not happen because of the Evil Sea thing. So it was online, which was great for me because everybody could participate, no matter where they come from, and you don't have to get to America, especially when you're in Europe. It's difficult to get there, as you might think. So I was able to get online on there, and was my very first contest. And I went in there with Arthur's the Lich King. And I thought, okay, I try this. But and then when I watched the online contest, I thought, okay, nothing's going to happen. I'm not going to win anything, because I thought, like, they wanted to have a video and a few pictures of the costume. And I thought, okay, that's not enough for an online Twitch show, right? Because they probably want more. And they're asking you about for it once they know, okay, you win something. So I was completely caught off guard when they proclaimed me the winner of the category of traditional craftsmanship, like sewing, blacksmithing, and leatherwork. I was struck. I still remember till this day what happened then. I was actually playing pen and paper while watching the streams, and then I was like, what the fuck? And I remember exactly what happened then, and it felt really, really great. And I still have, I don't know, it's probably stupid for other people, but I had the theme song of The Mandalorian in my head when I went to bed. I heard it like, I don't know, it was probably just my mind saying, yes, you're epic, just like The Mandalorian. It was really nice.
Yes, and good job for allowing yourself to celebrate yourself. And it's not like, from what we've talked about today, you know you do good work because you like it.
Yes.
It's an added bonus that other people like it.
Yes, and
I love that you entered this contest. Like, I like this. We'll see what happens. And it's got to be validating to know that when you are making this with yourself in mind, that it doesn't limit you from also receiving awards like you did.
Yeah. In the beginning, I like many of my projects very much. But it seems to be that my perception of my projects is different than the perspective of people around me. Like when I post something online that I really like and get like a few hundred likes, and it's really completely fine. But then there are sometimes projects that go just spiraling up like crazy, and never would have expected that I still like these projects, but I like them similar to all the other projects that I did that just got that a few hundreds, like just a few hundred likes. So I completely don't understand what the outside world, like what social media really likes. So it's always very interesting for me. Okay, how do other people see what I create? And also when I have when I go with a new armor set on a contest, I never know how it's going to be, if I'm going to win anything on a contest, or if they really like it, or if it don't. It's very, very, always very missing the word again. In German we say spannend.
Spannend?
Yes.
What does spannend mean?
I have no idea what it means in English. But it's always a surprise how people react on it, and if they actually do like it, or if they just think, yeah, it's nice, but there are many other great things that are probably better. So yeah.
Which is why we cannot form our core feelings about our work based on the validation of others.
We at least we should not.
Yeah.
I think we should not do this, but I think it's always very difficult.
It's normal.
Yeah. I think also in the very, very beginning when I first started with the social media, I was very thrilled about every like I get, but also the ones that I did not get. But from a point now, I developed a mindset. I was like, yeah, okay, I like it. That's all that matters. If other people like it too, that's great. But first of all, I have to like it. So I try to also separate myself a little bit from social media in that way. So not, as you said, not to validate myself or things I do from other people. But it's not always the easy part, because if you get some kind of negative critic, it's also just like the great things that you succeed in anything are very personal to myself. Also, the critique is very personal to myself.
Yeah, you have such a healthy mindset. And sorry, I'm being distracted by watching you go to work and this video I found on your Instagram. This is really what I wanted to see. And a lot of this is there on your Instagram. It's also there in your YouTube. You do a lot of tutorials.
All my projects.
All your projects are on YouTube.
Yes. No, not all the ones I have done, but from a certain point on, I think 4 years ago, I started making video tutorials. And from that point on, almost all my projects are online in the video tutorial. So if you see something that you like, most of the chances are good there's a video for that.
And I'm watching how long it took you to make this one small fleur-de-lis.
Yes.
And whatever your armor probably had several or 100 of them all over this thing. Oh, did I?
Actually, it was only 2 in this case.
I'm frozen. Okay. Oh, wait. I know what happened. No, I don't.
What happened?
This is my day of technical difficulties, apparently.
Pray to the computer god.
I know. I must have done something to anger them in this week. It's okay. I'm coming back. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I still hear you.
Okay. We'll get there, but instead we're going to watch you making this amazing thing.
So this is actually, this floral part is actually something special because it's 3-dimensional. I still hope everybody can hear me. So most of the time you go more 3D-ish. So when you have leather, you stamp something in there, so you compress only the leather. But if you, hey there. But in this case, also put some leather underneath the leather to push it up to give it a more 3-dimensional structure. So this is not something that is done for all the pieces, but it has a really great effect.
Yeah, really great effect. And it all started with that little cardboard just shape, right? and then
Yeah,
expand it from there.
Yeah, I do many. Most of the time, it's at least 3 cupboard versions. I start with a rough shape that, ideally, from when I know I've done a project before that has more or less a related shape. I start from that, create a first mock-up on the computer, put this on cupboard, and then I test it out. Then I make some changes. I see what one is not working properly. I change the pattern on my computer and get it again in a new version on cupboard, and just repeat that until I'm certain to a high degree that it would work also in leather. It's most of the time not 100% working there, but if it's like 98%, it's completely fine, because the small changes then I can do just by crafting, and then the end and add the pattern or adjust the pattern in the end on the computer, and how it should work completely from there.
And I just think it's unbelievable that you take the time to make this stuff, and then the additional time to record yourself doing it so that you can offer the tutorials to anybody that also wants to follow in your footsteps. So if this is exciting to any of you, use the command Beardfoot, because you can find his link tree and all the links there on his Instagram or in the links below if you're watching this back later. And you can find all these tutorials. But what are the kinds of things that you would like to encourage those that might be starting off on their own leather journey that they may not be able to take away from the tutorials themselves? Like, what kind of pitfalls have you run into that you can help us avoid as we start our own?
I think the biggest pitfalls are the ones that you create yourself in your mind.
Ooh,
because
great answer.
Leather work is not extremely difficult. With the simple projects, most of the people that have 2 hands can start right away, and they will have some success with it. The only thing, people may think, okay, where do I get the tools? You can get many of the tools online. Just a starter set work for me. Mm-hmm. And if you see, okay, you like it, then just get yourself more and more tools as you proceed, and see what you need, what you want, and just work yourself towards whatever project you like. So there are no real pitfalls or thresholds or something. Just the ones that you create yourself. So just what I want to encourage everybody, not just people doing leather work, but in general, just try it out. And if you don't like it, do something else. And maybe it works out. That would be something.
Who knows? You don't know until you start. And that has been the theme for like every Geek Out Sesh this year is, what do you need to get started? And almost every guest has said, just start. Just start. Because you, like you've said, you learn from making the mistakes. You find the things that you fuck up, and then you grow from it. But you can't gain those lessons just by watching a tutorial or reading about it. You have to just start and try and learn and grow and trust yourself enough that you'll figure it out. Or maybe you hate it and you move on.
Yeah, that's that is also something that's completely fine. But at least try it, because then you have no regrets in the end. That's something I want to live my life the way, is trying things out to not have regrets in any way in the end.
Yeah.
Just do the things that might be fun and find out if they really are.
Do it. That's what Nils is saying. Do it.
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf. Do it.
Do it.
Okay, let's pivot the conversation a little bit. Because not only are you a leather crafter and you make these amazing armors and weapons and accessories, all patterns, or at least a lot of the patterns, are available on your Etsy shop. So if you see something you like, maybe that you can just buy the pattern and make your own, buy the materials. But then you wear them and you go out and LARP.
Yes.
I need to know more about LARPing.
So LARPing stands for live action roleplay.
Yes.
And I like to call it just a huge improvisation theater. So maybe you know more about that. Generally spoken, LARP is different in most countries. Like I have seen American LARP. It's a lot different from European LARP, or at least LARP in Germany.
Okay.
But more or less, it's always the thing that people that are that are geeks or nerds or whatever, just like to dress up and then go in a big improv theater with other people, and chances are beat the shit out of each other in the most healthiest way with safe foam weapons. So it's, for me, LARP is vacation from myself or vacation from reality, because you go into a completely different world there with completely different people that chances are you have never seen before, and or at least not in the way they are there, and just have situations and get experience that you would never get in real life. Because when have you ever been a mushroom monster like me with this one here? So that's right. Nothing you can be in real life, because everybody's a human. So chances are you won't be a mushroom monster, but in LARP you can actually be. At least you can play it, and that's just great. Just try other things out in a completely safe environment. Try out screaming at people, being angry, but everybody around knows that that's just an act. So you just want to play your character, and maybe you can't just stand up on your job and yell at your boss. Else you can, but you probably get fired for it. But there you can when you're some guard and working under some king or something, and you always want to tell him how much you hate him. You can do this. This will have consequences in LARP. Probably you get executed for this, but that's a great experience too, isn't it? Being prosecuted for something like this, and it may sound like a weird thing to say, but it's actually a great experience to have these situations. Because back in my first LARP event, we were hunting spiders, not like spiders, like spiders, like bigger than the screen. We have not seen them, and it was the middle of the night, and the thing was, in the end, there were no spiders. There were not even people dressed as spiders. There were people dressed as spiders on this event, but we did not hunt them. They had nothing to do with this. But being in this situation, seeing people acting weird, like they were, I don't know, poisoned by some kind of spider, and then but you're completely in the dark, and then they're acting crazy, and you're like, fuck, what's going on here? And then you experience, at least for me, I experienced like real fear of what is going to happen. And also I got the experience that I noticed how I myself would react in a situation like this. I mean, not generally I'm hunting spiders, but being just fearful of something. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I think that's also something about learning yourself, just in different situations, which is really great for me.
So I've never done LARP. Like earlier today, you were at a LARPing event, yes?
Yes.
So you show up. Were you wearing one of those two behind you?
Partly, yes. I was wearing parts of him.
Okay.
I was playing a mushroom farmer that step by step is getting more crazy because he was possessed by the spirit of his late wife. Oh. And in the end, I was wearing a half of the mushroom set and acting really crazy and aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I was struck down by my fellow companions. And they wanted to save me. And I played this possessed person, which was so great, just acting like crazy, like some kind of monster. It's something that I've never done before in real life, because so far I have not been possessed in this way.
So far, still time.
But there I could play this, and it was so great. And Actually, that was also the first time on LARP that I was able to shed some tears. So, yeah.
Because of your late wife. That's sad. Now,
Yeah, she's going crazy. So I'm not sure how sad it really is, but yeah, it was some great experience for me.
now, when you show up to the LARP, are you like assigned this, I guess, not script, but scenario? Like, or did you just decide this for yourself and everyone else just is reacting to it? Do you have like
Yeah, it's more like this. I can only speak for LARP in German, as I said, it's different in many countries. But here, it's like you get a scenario, you got some, okay, it's like medieval fantasy, and you can choose some kind of role, like being part in this kind of the farm people, or I was a refugee fleeing towards the farm, so I was an outsider with other group people, and this was just the role that I chose.
Okay.
And also all the details, what exactly I would be, like a mushroom farmer, that's all me choosing this. There are also other roles like NPCs that are assigned specific roles to just make the world more interesting and livable. Like you can compare it to the orcs in a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
They are the background people that in the end are going to be struck down and lose.
Yeah.
And make the heroes really shine. So at some point, the orcs are actually kind of the real heroes here because they lift the heroes up. They give them, the other people, the common players, a chance to be the heroes. But also, that's your choice. You can be an NPC or a player character. And the player characters are completely free in whatever they do, whatever they the stupid ideas they can come up with. The NPCs are usually guided by the people that like the game masters. They have an idea of where the story is going to be, what they had in mind, like some kind of a script. But the thing is, there's a rule that says no plan survives the contact with players. So you have to be able to improvise a lot, and but you just get your rough idea in them to the players, and everything else is mostly improvised.
So this is basically massive immersive D&D with the game masters creating the setting, creating a scenario, kind of scripting the NPCs, but then bringing in the player characters, and like you said,
exactly. Yes.
About to fuck up a plan every single time.
Yeah, it's exactly like playing pen and paper. You never know what the player characters are going to do, and it's the same in LARP, but bigger. And you have usually more players, and they're a little bit limited in what they do because they cannot say, "Okay, I'm going to fly away," because they would have to literally be able to fly away to do that. But if they could do this. So they are a little bit limited, but most of the time it's very similar to playing D&D or any other pen and paper like game.
And so I know it might be different here in the States, but in Germany, how did you first find a LARP event to get involved with?
Actually, I was having a friend that also already was in LARP. And he knew all the things, and he knew other people's, and he knew there was a good event. So he took me with him there, and from there on, I searched myself for other events. I went there on my own partly. And yeah, that's just the start. With a friend, it's also always a good idea to not be completely alone in a new thing, because at least for me it would be way too scary to get into this 3.5 days event somewhere else in the world. And being there completely on my own, knowing nothing about the way this game works. So I was very grateful that I was taken by the hand by a friend.
Yeah.
And when we were on the event, he was like, "Okay, you go." I was like, "Okay." okay, I can take this from here. It was just like a nice flow. People were great, and I felt very comfortable from the beginning because I had a lot of I have a lot of experience with pen and paper before.
Yeah.
So I was able to translate this from pen and paper to LARP, and felt kind of natural.
I just wrote down find LARP event because I think I would
do it.
love this. I've gotten like this much experience in it just from going to Renaissance Festival, not too far from here, but it's really big and immersive, and it's got a lot of NPCs, so to speak. And they had like this little mini quest that you could go on, and like you had to communicate with all the NPCs, and they'd guide you. And I just had such a blast, and to think that that could even be bigger and for multiple days, it just would blend my love of fantasy, my love of dressing up, my love of theater, improv, all into one. Fighting. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Yes. That's pretty much exactly what LARP is in general. You get some NPCs, they give you a quest, you do whatever the quest is, you get some kind of reward, you experience new things, you meet new people, you find new quests, or just new things that are interesting and that you act on, because you can always start your own personal quest basically with whatever you want. Really? And go from there.
Oh my god, I might have just discovered my new obsession. Because here in the States, LARPing, just like all geeky things, is in the like pop culture, like in movies and stuff, it's shat on. It makes it look like the nerdiest, like lamest thing ever. But I know it's not, and it doesn't have to be, especially when you have a bunch of people really getting into it. Like, if I saw somebody like you walking towards me in that armor, I think I could die happy. I'm like, this is it. I am in my fantasy dream. I've achieved the peak of my life. I'm good.
You know, dying in LARP is one of my favorite things.
Is it?
Yes. I'm a natural NPC, so I love to die. I love to be struck down and lie on the ground and be like, okay, now I'm just being a beautiful corpse. That's enough for me. I like that.
Do you get to respawn, or once you're dead, you're dead?
That depends. So with NPCs, usually you respawn, because often there are much less NPCs than player characters.
Okay.
So you have to respawn. But for players, it can be different depending on the rule set. But usually, at least in Germany, it's like the Opferregel, it's called. Like the character only dies when he wants to die. Oh. So if you get smashed by a boss and you lie on the ground, if you don't want to be, usually you're not dead. You just got in the story, you always crawl to the next healer and get somehow recovered. But you also can choose to just be dead and then come with another character. So
it's not very rules heavy.
Yeah, it depends. As I mentioned, there are different LARP styles. Like some is like, okay, then when the game master says, okay, you're dead now, then you're dead.
Okay.
But most of the time, on the events I'm on, it's always the choosing of the player character, if he wants to be dead or not. Because it can be quite interesting to die as a character, because it also creates more story, more people reacting to it, people are sad, and there's always more play from that. But the thing is, some people play their characters for many, many years, and they don't want to lose them in some kind of weird accident.
Yeah.
So it's completely fine to say, okay, I don't want this character to be dead.
So is it like a campaign kind of thing? Like when you create a character, you come into that world, and then like, are you leveling up? Can you then bring that same character to the next campaign or the next LARP event, and it's the previous story is canon in that character's backstory?
There I have heard about the rules that you really can level up, but so far I'm not a big fan of that, because it makes people being power gamers and think, okay, I'm the big wizard, and everybody else, no, you're not. So, but in general, yes, You can, as a character, can say, okay, you were on another event or the previous event of this event, and say, okay, you've been there, you have survived this and that. That's completely fine. That's completely up to you. Many players play the same character on different events over many years.
Mhm.
Like they have, on 1 year, they go on 3 different events, and they are always the same character. That's what many people do, and just they can tell, oh, back then I was experienced this and that, which was a completely different LARP event. But they can do this completely, yes.
I'm Googling this as soon as we're done here. I'm in the event ASAP. I need to get ready because this sounds like the most fun thing I've ever heard of.
I hope you find something that fits you in your area.
I hope so. I hope there's a thriving LARP scene underground here that I never knew about. And I've just been missing it in the parks or something.
Yeah, the things is often the nerds stay in their basements until the next LARP event.
Yeah, exactly where I'm at right now. Dude, Nils, this has been so cool. Thank you so much for sharing about your art, your work.
Thank you for having me.
Like the mindset behind it. And I hope that anyone who's either watched back or live here in the chat today, you've gained something. And my last question to you is, when people come across your work, whether it's on the LARP field or it's on Instagram or it's at an event like a cosplay competition, what's one thing that you're hoping they take away with?
I hope they get some kind of inspiration or see things that they thought they were not possible, and just may think about the next thing that they comes up their mind might be less impossible than they first think. So some kind of let's just do it mentality.
Let's just do it. Do it.
Do
You
it.
heard him, y'all. You heard him. If you haven't already, you know you're going to that link. Go to his Instagram, give it a follow, buy his patterns, support his work, and hopefully walk away with some inspiration for you to start chasing your own dreams. Whatever that is, like he said, maybe it's not leatherworking, but it's something that makes you happy. Do it because it makes you happy. And then ideally, because it makes you happy, it'll make other people happy or inspired or excited.
And if it does not, it doesn't matter because you like it.
You like it. You like it. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us for today's Geek Out Sesh, special on a Sunday. I'm so glad that we can make this work with your schedule, Nils, because I would have been so sad if this conversation was ever able to have happened.
Thanks again for having me. Was a great time. Talking about the stuff that I like.
That's what we're here for. We're here to geek out with you and a new guest every week. So come back next week. Actually, next week we're off because work has me busy all week. The following week, I think we're going to be welcoming back Cantina 13 for some exciting things that they've got going on. Everybody stick around for the raid because we're going to go raid Cisco playing Baldur's Gate. And yeah. Oh, the thing I forgot to tell you at the beginning. So we're about to sign off. Follow my lead. Repeat after me when I point to you. Okay?
What?
Until next time, I'm Bozer. Who are you?
I'm Nils Beardfoot.
And you just keep geeking out.
Geeking out.
Nailed it.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.